welcome back to Pierogi by Kelly. Today I'll be teaching you to make spinach cheese pierogi filling. This is one of the more traditional pierogi fillings and one of my personal favorites. This filling is not only delicious and simple to make, but is also a meatless filling. Cheese pierogi, as well as other meatless options like sauerkraut and potato, are typically served during Lent and on Christmas Eve. This is because these are times of fast in Polish culture in which they refrain from eating meat. This recipe fills about 3 to 4 dozen pierogi and is a recipe that I got from my babci. However, as cooking, as my dad always says, is an art, feel free to add your own spices and herbs. Now let's get started. Here we have 2 cups of fresh spinach leaves, which have already been washed, 2 peeled garlic cloves, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 2 cups of ricotta cheese, 1 teaspoon of lemon pepper seasoning, and some salt, which will be added to taste. The first thing we're going to do is chop the spinach. I'm just going to put this all out onto my cutting board. And I'm going to try my best to chop the spinach very finely because it is going into the filling with the cheese and you're going to mix them together, and you wouldn't want a whole leaf in your pierogi filling. And one of the things I recommend when chopping something like spinach is to gather it together in the center and then chop that rather than trying to chop all the leaves separately. So now that all of the spinach is very finely chopped, I'm just going to put this to the side. And now I'm going to chop the garlic. So here I have my 2 cloves of garlic, which have already been peeled. And I am just going to chop these as well. And I'm going to try to chop these up pretty finely as well. Because again, like I had said before, they're going directly into the filling. If you would like, you could use a garlic press or a food processor. So now that the garlic has been finely chopped, I'm going to put in a little bit of olive oil into this pan here. And I'm going to turn that on to low heat. And then I'm just going to add my garlic into the pan with the olive oil. I'm going to use a wooden spoon to just stir that around. And we're going to saute the garlic in the olive oil until it softens. I wouldn't recommend turning it up onto a higher heat because if you do, it'll likely burn rather than just quicken the process. However, I would definitely recommend when you do think that it's starting to soften to taste it just to see if it's actually reached that consistency. And it is perfect. I'm going to begin the mixture, which I will add the garlic into once it is fully cooled. Here I just have a large mixing bowl, which I'm going to add in my ricotta cheese, and then my finely chopped spinach. And to mix these together, I would recommend just using a spoon. Now that these 2 have been combined, I'm going to add in the completely cooled garlic, and as well as the olive oil that's in the pan. Everything that's in the pan, I'm going to add into the mixture. So now I'm just going to combine that into this mixture as well. So now that I have the mixture here, which you can see, I'm going to add in the lemon pepper seasoning And if you have any other seasonings that you would like, this is when you would add those in as well. And I'm just going to stir that in. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of my salt and add that in. I'm going to do 4 pinches of salt, and stir that in and see what I think. It needs a little bit more salt. So I'm going to add in 3 more big pinches and stir that up again. So I think that's enough salt. Now that my filling has been wrapped, I'm going to place it into the fridge to let it cool, and I'm going to prepare my dough to fill. If you'd like more information on how to create the dough as well as what that process is like, go check out my first video, which is also linked in the description. So here I have my filling that I grabbed out of the fridge, and I'm going to be using a 1/2 teaspoon and just placing that in the center of each disc to create my pierogi. For more liquidy fillings like the cheese one here or a potato one, I'd recommend only using 1/2 teaspoon of filling. Here I have my glass of water. I'm just going to coat the outside of the pierogi dough with it and then fold the dough in half and press the sides together. And if you'd like more help or details on that, once again, I'd recommend going and checking out my first video, which is linked in the description. So I'm just pressing together and sealing my last pierogi right now, but I'm going to boil these and then I'm going to prepare a few to eat. Although you do not need to do anything after boiling them, I would definitely recommend sauteing this type of pierogi after boiling them, as it provides a nice and crispy texture of the dough, which I think pairs very nicely with the creamy insides of the cheese. Personally, I prefer to saute them just in plain butter. However, you can also saute them using bacon or onions, as well as other various methods that people enjoy. Here are my pierogi, which I have just taken out from sauteing. They look and smell delicious. So I'm just going to cut one open to try it now. Now I'm gonna grab one to eat. Those were delicious. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck in pierogi making.